Happy Wednesday, beautiful people. Welcome to the 21st day of 2026. It's the 21st of January, bro. And I hope you all as well, keeping things 24 and better than before. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed your New Year's. I say again, I know. Yeah, shout out to all of y'all who tuned in to the first episode of 2026. But again, shout out to you guys for tuning in into this one. My name is Dominic. Welcome to the talk with Dominic. Was that necessary? I don't know, man. We just out here chilling and having a chat, man. It might be in the morning, afternoon, or noon, but welcome. You're welcome. This is a good space, positive energy, 24 energy, and yeah, man. Shout out to y'all. Every single end of the year, I get to go Komahaying. Komahaying is like, I don't want to say rural because you think about shacks. No, let's just say you go to your agricultural natural home. Not the cities, not where there's a mall and it has escalators and elevators. It has baddies walking right there. They're not wearing clothes. No. Talking about something natural where, it's just natural. So from city boy going to, even saying villages sounds bad, but that's what you guys call it, villages. But then I call it agricultural home because it is so natural and peaceful. When you walk, it's like you can feel every single step. There's no rush. It's just, and yeah, that's where I was, and it was so peaceful. People didn't know me, and I like it that way. I don't like it when people know me. I just like my own space because I'm just a humble guy. You mustn't know me. Just chill. Allow me to greet you. You greet me. We chill. That's the nice thing about my agricultural space. It's just chilled. Hana matata. Instagram what? Social on. Well, TikTok is the only thing that they know, I think. Because TikTok is everywhere. 1 billion downloads. So why not? And the problem that I constantly have every single year, is for the fact that I spend so much time in the city life that I forget my home language. How do I forget my home language? Not really forget, but I forget how to speak. I only know the basics. To the point where I forget it so much that when it comes to talking to my own grandmother, I have to not translate her words. Sometimes I do, but then now I have to pick my words carefully to construct a sentence in my head so that it comes out right. So my background is that I grew up in a Zulu home, and then, obviously, with time growing up, you have to, when you're in primary, bro, you gotta learn that English, boy. You have to know English to go to the next grade. And fun. Now my English was bad. I'm not gonna lie. My English was just, it was bad, Joe. Mickey Mouse couldn't help me. No one could, except video games. I know it sounds unrealistic, but trust me, it is. What I did as a kid was that I used to turn on subtitles as much as I can in every type of media I could. I couldn't read, guys, by the way, but I was so good at taking sounds of words and then in my head, playing a game where I'm like, okay, how do I spell this? And then subtitles actually helped me to understand how to spell things before I knew English. So I knew how to spell the words, but I didn't know how to speak the language. So, and that's just how I am. I remember also when I was learning Zulu for the first time. How do I learn Zulu when I said I was Zulu? I'll come to that later. It was a different experience. So I need to see words and hear the sounds in order to learn the language. Me reading in class, dog, public speech, working prepared speech, fun, yo boy, get the data zelling there. It's not for me. Until it wasn't. Even when I'm reading to the teacher face to face, I couldn't because I couldn't hear. And that's how video games literally taught me how to speak English and to see how to say certain words at what time, how you respond, yes or no, hi, how are you doing? And then I was like, oh, okay, that's how you pick it up. That's how I learned my English. I was never born into an English home. It was a matter of, it's Zulu. If it's not Zulu, it's Tswana. And by the way, Kasi Majita. And yeah, Jay, it was a different experience. And I prefer Kasi over suburbs, but hey, that's my opinion, right? Marai, it's dangerous on them streets. It's dangerous on them streets. But then, hey, another man's trash is another man's treasure. So that's my treasure. I like Kasi. I like it. Especially if you know the people there. If you don't, then yeah, vele. Hey, Joe, I feel too, it's gonna be tough. I mean, now it's almost thing. Then all of a sudden, Majita bo shapa. I don't say boy or that. Going to Komahai, the villages, agricultural settlement. When I get there every single time, as I said, I have to reconstruct my language. I have to tell myself, okay, now I have to switch. My brain needs to switch off English totally and go back to Zulu. If it's not Zulu, it's Pedi. And by the way, it's kind of it's not a hard thing to do, but then if I come unprepared like the previous years before, 2025, it was tough, guys. My grandma would be like, yeah, my cake. I'm like, wait, whoa. I'm like, dang, okay, please repeat that. And then she would repeat it. And then I'm like, okay, I take what she said, translate it into English. Then I'm like, okay, sharp. Now I have to respond in Zulu. Look at that process, guys. So it actually made me concerned of like, are we as as time goes on, are we as Black people forgetting our own cultural language to the point whereby we will even fail to connect with our own people? You understand what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? I hope you do. Because like language is something that connects people. You need language to communicate. You need language to connect with somebody. Without that, dog, things wouldn't be working out. You understand? I remember watching this movie, which is called A Zulu Christmas. It's on Showmax. Last time I saw it, it was on Showmax. So it's about a city kid who goes to the villages to spend his Christmas with his grandma. And by the way, when I say the villages, dog, they don't know English, Joe. It's straight up Zulu. Straight up Zulu. It's just Zulu straight. And when he speaks English, boy, they don't understand him at all. Well, in the beginning of the movie, they didn't understand him. And they used to make fun of him, And it came to a point whereby, his grandma could understand his English. But, she, not that, I don't know if she hoped that he would learn Zulu, but at the end of the movie, he did. However, what I picked up in this movie is the disconnection. A kid, by the way, these are kids. A kid going from city to villages. Well, kids are picky. Kids get to be also stingy and petty about it. You take a kid from the city, they're just used to the indlela yobulungu. I think that's how I can say it in the nicest way possible. They're used to the white way of living, and then you take them to the Black way of living, which is where we come from. They're kind of confused of like, hey man, why are we eating goat meat? Well, okay, not goat meat, but why are we eating this meat? This is the same meat you were eating in the city life. It's just that you never saw this meat being actually, skinned from an animal and cleansed and all that whole process. They don't understand that. So now it's gonna be hard for the kid to eat that because they're like, what? I didn't know that this is where food comes from. So already there's that disconnect of culture. You are already separated from the origin of your own culture just by you being in the city life and coming to the cultural life. It's like, hey dog, wagwan, wiralanjo. Like you're confused. The language is just different. People are talking in a weird way. It's just a mess. And when as the kid, you're just puzzled. And in that whole movie, that's what I picked up. And I have been in that boy's shoes because for the fact that I had to learn English to pass at school, and then now all of a sudden I have to go back home to the villages, and then now I have to now teach myself again my home language since I have been speaking English for so many years and practicing it just to get a distinction. Now to only learn hore, I am effing up, I'm fudging up my own home language. That is kind of sad, man. That is kind of sad. And I kind of also am against how English, kind of replaces our culture. Okay, English is a language that connects people. It's a language that connects people. Whether utla Eastern Cape, Limpopo, different provinces, all the 9 provinces in SA, wherever you come from, English is that language that allows us all to connect. But then if you look at Kasi Street, Kasi, they didn't have English. Back then, no. Like, dog, we had people from wherever they came from, and then their neighbors are Venda, and then your opposite neighbor is Tsonga, and then that neighbor there is Sotho, the other one is Zulu. For some reason, the thing that I love about Kasi so much is that they're so good at marinating and mixing languages to the point that Joe, language and everybody just understands each other so much that even a white person wouldn't understand what the heck they're saying. That is it. That is so cool. So now, if you as a English speaker, you go to that Kasi, there's gonna be a huge disconnection, man. A huge one, because learning English and stuff so much that I started speaking English on the streets. They were like, "Ay, man, so wirala braga, king wirala braga, ntlhalosetse why o bolela sekgowa so." And then I was like, "Hey, okay, I can understand what you're saying, but now I have to I would like to respond in your language, which is the language I'm supposed to know, but I don't, because I forgot it. I've been learning so much of English that part of my brain is like now deteriorated." Afrikaans is another one. Afrikaans is just a language that I remember having a classmate who used to say that, ma'am, Afrikaans, we're not even gonna use it, after high school. What is the point? Even though Afrikaans in my school, it was an additional language that you had to do. And yeah, to this day, I won't lie, I had fun learning Afrikaans, watching Seven the Land to learn the language, learning the gebeers and the het and the whole German thingy. Yeah, man, it was kind of cool. However, like now, I don't use that language. Like, to the point where Leon, I forgot how to speak Afrikaans fluently. I'm back to the basics. Like, I only know egg. I think I only know egg from the top of my brain. The rest, it's erased. It's erased. So Afrikaans now is just a language that I need to learn it again. So with Afrikaans, same thing, guys. I mean, I feel like also white people, maybe in SA, they don't, well, they do, it's their home language, but then how often do they speak it? And if you are, an Afrikaans person, please hit the comments, man. Like, I would like to know. It's actually interesting. Like, I've always asked myself, do actually white people speak Afrikaans at home? Because I've never, like, unless, okay, if I'm in public, yeah, I'll hear them speak Afrikaans, but then for how long do they speak Afrikaans? Because that's how good English has become. English is everywhere. It's on your phone. It's in the books, on the flipping stop signs. I mean, the stop sign is in English. Everything is in English, So what is the point of the existence of Afrikaans? And it made me ask the question even further. What is the purpose of my home language if, like, I have to learn English to progress through life? And that is the thing that I'm concerned about. What is the home language of white South Africans? Let me see what people gotta say, actually. I still don't understand the current situation between English speakers and Afrikaans speakers. England and the Boers fought against each other in the past, okay. But how is life today? Are there great differences in culture between these two groups? Do they still have some kind of animosities? Are there even differences, or are they basically forgive my dumbness, the white ones, quote unquote, in South Africa? It says here, somebody commented saying that minimal animosity, there won't be a civil war or anything. At worst, you will find an old Afrikaans guy that won't allow his granddaughter to date an English guy, and you will find a few English people that see Afrikaners as common or hickish. Wait, so basically, wait, guys, wait, balance me. Now online, and I thought that Africans and white people are the same people. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know. So basically, you're telling me that white people and Afrikaans people have that Shaka Zulu type of story as well? That's crazy, man. How do you fight your own kind, man? Well, I mean, Shaka Zulu, he did it. He fought against his own kind. So for the battle of power, there are differences, but also a lot of similarities. In parts, Afrikaans and English would barely mix at all, but that's also because the more rural parts would have very few English-speaking white South Africans to begin with. In cities, it is a little more mixed. Lots of intermarrying and blending the cultures. I am nominally Afrikaans speaking South African, and my wife nominally English speaking South African. And that's not considered even remotely weird. No. Okay, says here, no real animosity at this stage. When a group of friends include English and Afrikaans, then usually people just switch over to speaking English. A generation or two ago, maybe there was still more. For example, my grandmother, born 1916, yes, no longer with us, was very upset to the point of early disowning my aunt when my aunt married an Englishman, quote unquote. I mean, fair enough, my grandparents' farm on my grandfather's side was burnt down twice by the British. Family sent to concentration camp, and my grandfather finished out the boer was at POW in St. Helena. But she quickly came around to her son-in-law. That was the late 60s and early 70s. Nowadays, certainly no animosity really. Often more like city folk versus country folk. Yet most people probably live next to each other in suburbs. Different accents that are also evening out over time. Okay, nothing like, say, the feelings the Irish still often have for the British. You wouldn't hear Afrikaans, white South Africans still blaming the British nearly as much. People are way more likely to complain about the 3 decades of ANC rule. Wow. Okay, so yeah, okay, I think we have a clear picture. I didn't know, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I didn't know that Afrikaners and the English fought. Now online, I didn't know, guys. Now they didn't teach me that in history. Go history now and that idea. Now all I knew was that there were 4 trackers and some sort of, I don't know what it was. They were shooting at each other, but I don't know who they were shooting. So now go history na nage creme, majo. Nah, I'm not gonna lie. So English is a good language to know and keep around, just to connect. If you're a traveler, you can go to any country and talk to an Italian in English, and it's all, all happy and merry, everybody's embracing each other. However, like, as a South African Zulu man, well, Zulu people will never forget their own language. But then when as a South African petty person, when you go back home, like what's gonna happen, Bafetu? Like is the disconnection is actually something that's serious. And I feel like the more us as black people move away from home straight, like we, not that we disconnect, but then we are go tropong hospana, you get work, you push work, Luana, your life is going up, you are improving your life, everything is fresh. And then hobela high, there's that little thing, man. I know home will always be in your roots, it will always be in you. But then what about your kids? Because we know that as a parent you want a better future for your child, and what are you gonna do? You're gonna raise your child in a better environment, which is what the city life. That city life, it's the same cycle over and over and over again. It's just the nature of us human beings. We care so much about our own kin that we want a better settlement, a better lifestyle for them. However, how are you gonna prevent the disconnection of culture from your child? That is the question I have for you guys. And shout out to the comment sections. Please check it out. I'll be waiting for your responses down there, because I think as a parent, it's important that you teach your child the fundamentals of the culture. The culture should be within them. They should understand it. I'm not saying that they should stop speaking English, no, but let them remember where they actually come from, because English is true, guys. It somehow, there will be that disconnection. Maybe one day you'll experience it, but then when you do, it's on you, and then if you have experienced it, comment section is down there. Check me out. And then the next thing, how English is everywhere. Man, it's just too much, man. It's too much. I enjoy speaking English. I won't lie, I do. I enjoy learning English. The big words. You sound like an attorney. Yeah, Joe, serious, Joe. But then, dog, it can only go so far, man. For the fact that I'm not a person who's attached to the whole apartheid timeline. No, but then the thing that I just care about is the culture of a South African. You understand? We are so bilingual, man. It's so special for the fact that we lived in some sort of way with our own languages, but we could still connect with that. And then a language from overseas comes, and then now, and like it didn't even come as English, it came as Afrikaans. But then you will get the picture. An overseas language comes here, and then all of a sudden, language, we don't know how to speak. And then to the point, now we are here. Actually, let's just say this: English colonized other languages, and it's another problem, man. It's another problem that, man. Sometimes it's kind of embarrassing, man. Like, you go home and then you don't know your own language. That thing is, there are people who will teach you. Yes, people are not like Zulu people, but then there is a point where, dude, how we do translator kwale. When I do say, it's kind of I feel like it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a problem. So there's another interesting idea I had. I was like, what if our own vernacular languages were to overpower English as a language? Because we have other cultures like Chinese. If you check your phone, if you check other options for language, those languages, they're so popular and so relevant, and they have so much influence that like phones, are even programmed for that language. So then what if your phone can actually be full on Tswana, full on Sotho Venda? How would that be, dog? like think about it for a second. Like, I thought about it. I was like, hey, that would actually be cool. Languages fighting against English language. Because I don't know, there's just a beautiful connection between when all South African languages just mix, or like, everybody's just speaking from the core of their own language. It's something that's beautiful, and I feel like it's more educational than you sticking to one language, which is English. It's like, man, okay, we are all speaking English. What more can I learn from you? You are speaking English, dog. But then this person says, I am visiting South Africa, Cape Town, for the first time in 6 weeks, and out of politeness, I would like to be able to say a few sentences in Afrikaans or Zulu. Now I have a few questions. Which language is more popular, especially in the Cape Town region? Will most South Africans understand both Afrikaans and Zulu? Which language is most common? Are people not speaking Afrikaans or Zulu at all? I read on the 10 official languages, and now I don't really know how to prepare. So the comment here says, growing up in KZN, I could somewhat understand Zulu, even though I couldn't speak it, mainly because of friends and stuff. Then I moved to Gauteng for uni, and my gosh, I was confused as F. I have mad respect for the black community there, because how can y'all all come from different mother tongues and still be able to converse with others from different languages with such ease? Like, it's fascinating, honestly. Bro, what did I just say to y'all, bro? Now I'm telling y'all, all them black folk, boy, nagalabota, boy. As of today, as of the 21, mfana, rabatana ga Sotho fela. Ho fitla ko uni da, o ba botsa re exe professor Muruti a go tlhalohanye. For real, guys. You see what I'm talking about? This is what I was talking about, bro. Somebody says here, it depends on where exactly you will be. For most of the Cape Town CBD and surrounds, English is your best bet. As you get further and further from the heart of the CBD, Afrikaans will become more prevalent. But English is still going to be understood for the most part. Zulu won't get you super far in Cape Town generally. It's far more prevalent in the KZN province, and to a lesser degree part of Gauteng and Mpumalanga. As far as the Bantu languages go, you will have more luck with some Xhosa, although it's not a language that lends itself to learning via reading. Okay, yeah, that's kind of true. It's not a language that lends itself to learning via reading. That's kind of true. Xhosa is the only language, guys. Na as a black person in SA, it's the only language that shires me. I won't lie, boy. I won't lie, dog. Like, I think all my friends know, like, boy, I need a translator for that, because I don't know, I always confuse Xhosa people. And by the way, guys, when things get serious, I'm that guy who will laugh, Joe. So with Xhosa people, like, when they talk, they sound angry, bro. I don't know why. In my mind, they're like, I give it this serious. I'll start laughing, or like, I just feel like they're just mad at something. Like, I don't know. Maybe I've never met a Xhosa person who sounds kind. I don't know. But then for some reason, they all sound so, like, they have so much, like, not aggression, but then they're just ready to speak, boy. But then yeah, is it normal or a standard for South Africans to switch between multiple languages in everyday casual conversation? I was watching How to Ruin Christmas, the wedding, and noticed all characters frequently switched between speaking English, Sotho, Tswana, Zulu, and Xhosa. Where's the pedi? Guys, where's the pedi? They would even start a sentence of speaking in one language, then end the sentence speaking another language. I know South Africa is a multilingual and has its 11 official languages. Guys, it's 11. Okay, you guys can throw me in the comments. But is it normal for everyday conversation to be multilingual like that? The series takes place in Johannesburg. Are most people in Gauteng fluent in all those languages? ETA, thank you for all the responses. How very interesting to know that this kind of multilingualism is actually so common. I had no idea. Okay, this person says that, okay, they asked this. They're like, I know South Africa is a multilingual and has its 11 official languages, but is it normal for everyday conversation to be multilingual like that? Yeah, dog, you see, this is the thing about SA, like, we have this, it's so cool at the same time. Like I say, guys, we should like mix all the 11 languages. Joe. Yeah, I made a mistake, Joe. It's not 7 or 8, guys. I thought like we had 7 or 8 languages, but hey, but then we do speak different languages in terms of, I think, we as Black people, we have this cool thing of accommodating other people, and we do it out of the heart, so with languages, like, we tend to, if you know Zulu and I know Tswana, one of us is gonna maybe somehow, I don't know how, naturally, so it's gonna happen that whichever language both of y'all know on the same level, you will speak it. And if you don't understand what they're saying, English is there just to cover you, boy. If not, they are, dog. Like what that's how it works in South Africa, And then I was concerned, to the location that I moved to, Midrand. To this day, sometimes, sometimes when I go around Midrand, there's like Black people, and there's like Black people, obviously there's Black people. There's like people who speak Xhosa, and then there were people who speak Zulu, and then Tswana people, like, it's rare for me to hear them, but then I'm not sure. That's why, like, I don't know, as a Black person, me, as a South African, I like going in, speaking English, and then I think I tell by the tone and the accent which language I get to react. It just happens. And then, yeah, I know that while we are talking, it will slip, and then you start speaking your home language. And then I would switch to it just to have fun with you, to show that, I want to speak your language. I just know it, just that, right now on your forehead, it doesn't write which language you speak. So yeah, man, that's the dopest thing about South Africa. South Africa is a country, guys. When it comes to languages, boy, we dominate. Joe, this English thing needs to stop, dog. Kadlala, guys, you need English, ne? And yeah, man, hey, shout out to y'all, and yeah, B24 be better than B4, and I think that's it. We have a whole lot of editing to do, man. Dang, this episode has been all over the place. This is the first episode, like, whereby, I don't know, man, it just feels, I eat, but then it's a different experience. Shout out to y'all. Thank y'all for listening to this episode. Shout out to y'all. B24, be better than B4, and yeah, catch you guys in the next one.